Hi, I'm going to do my book talk on Tucky, Joe, and Little Heart. This is a book written by Patricia Polacco. She's the author and illustrator. It was published by Simon and Schuster Books for Young Readers in 2015, and it's historical fiction in that it takes place during the World War II time period, but it is actually a true account of a story from a man that Patricia met when she was doing a school visit. And so she met this man, she was inspired by his story, and she wrote a book about it. So it has 48 pages, so it is kind of long, but it would be better for the upper elementary. So it's about the main character is Johnny Walden, and he is actually 15 in the beginning of the story, and when World War II breaks out and he wants to go fight, and he actually lies about his age. His parents, they lie about his age so he's able to go fight for his country because that's something that he was super passionate about. And so he gets there, and I'll show you the illustrations. They're super beautiful, like watercolor, and they're really expressive of the character's feelings. Like she put a lot of detail into so you know exactly how the characters feel in each scene. But so Johnny gets there, and he's from Kentucky, and he is a kid, so they call him the kid from Kentucky. And he was walking around one day and heard water, and so he looked around to find the water, and he found a village. And there was this little girl that came up to him, and he had these bites, insect bites all over him, and she, took the leaves and started to rub them on his bites. And she doesn't speak English. She was a native from the village, but they connected over that. Let me show the picture. She's just this cute little girl, and so he tries to introduce himself to her. She doesn't speak English, so he just introduces himself and says, "I'm Tucky Joe." That's what they call me. And he wanted to give her a name, and she has a heart birthmark on her arm, so he calls her Little Heart. And so they just get this connection. They kind of start to meet every day. He starts to forget about the war, and he helps the villagers. Let's find it. He gets word that the enemy troops are going to bomb the village, and so he goes in. He saves them. And there's Little Heart. He saves all of the villagers, not just Little Heart. And here's another picture. You can see the expression on everyone's face. So he takes, and that's the last time that he sees this little girl. And so then it fast forwards to the future. It just kind of says he got married, has 8 children, 24 grandchildren, 28 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. So I think that's pretty neat. And this is an actual picture of his family. But then it kind of comes full circle when he is at the doctor, and he gets this nurse, and she's just so adamant about helping him and paying for something for him. And he realizes that it's her. So it's just a super, super sweet story. I'm super emotional. It makes me super emotional when I read this. But I believe that this would be good to teach in a 6th grade setting, because that's when they learn about World War II. And so I believe that maybe some sort of project like write a letter from the point of view of a World War II soldier. So you write a letter home, telling, what's happening and what it looks like over there, because up to this point, the students would have already, learned from textbooks about kind of what it's like, but to have a real life encounter, I feel like that would really make that connection for them. And for an ELL student, I think that we should partner them up with someone else, because it'd be easier to work together to kind of figure out what we're trying to write down. And also allowing them to draw pictures would help, because they would be able to not only represent what they want to say with words, but represent it with pictures. So, it's a really great book. I got it a little bit ago, actually from Amsty. The lady, someone at Amsty recommended it, and so they read it to us, and it was super emotional, and I thought it was really sweet, so I got it. But it's a really great book to add to your library.